Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm just going to be breaking down some of the MMA news over the last week. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, Dana White decided to announce the majority of the UFC 310 card. Now, I did do a card builder or a card prediction on what I think would be on the card, and I got it horribly wrong, so I'm sorry about that. But it is quite a good card that they have lined up. So we're going to talk about the matchups. Okay, so first of all, in the main event, we have Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakmanov. Now, I was under the assumption that Belal was somewhat injured. That's why they didn't get the fight in October. And I believe he expressed, thinking it was a little bit too quick for December, but they got the matchup in December. Shavkat is the favorite. I understand that. Respect on Belal for fighting before the year ends. I do think this was, going to be the next title fight at welterweight. It's going to be a really, really interesting matchup because Shavkat, unbeaten, good finishing potential, but Belal just walked through Leon. But I do think Shavkat's going to win. I think his submissions and his ability to not just wrestle but grapple, like in terms of jiu-jitsu scrambles, is going to be very, very useful. Because we did see Leon actually reverse position and take advantage of some of Belal's mistakes in the grappling, and I think Shavkat can do that, but to a much higher degree of deadliness. I think he can scramble and latch up a submission or land some better elbows, and I just don't see Belal bullying Shavkat. Like, Jeff Neal couldn't really do what he wanted with Shavkat, and Jeff Neal swings fucking kettlebells, right? I just think Shavkat's okay with not having the center, but I also think Shavkat's a lot better at pressuring than Leon is. Leon's a guy that likes space but isn't very good at taking it. I feel like Shavkat is just such an imposing figure. He's got a strong jab, he's got strong kicks, he's very long. I feel like he can really keep Belal away from him and land good shots when he needs to. Head kicks, body kicks, knees in the clinch. I think Shavkat's clinch game is extremely, extremely good, and I think it's going to be really good against Belal. So I do see Shavkat winning, maybe by submission. I wouldn't be surprised if it was KO, but I'm going with Shavkat, say third round submission. Competitive, but I don't think Shavkat will win. Now, co-main event. Alexander Pantoja versus Kaya Sakura. Now, I thought they were going to put this on the February card because they tried to get it in Perth, but Pantoja wanted more time off. So they're doing the fight right before the end of the year. I think, it's a fantastic matchup. I like that it's on the December card. It adds quite a lot more weight to it. Pantoja is the favorite, and that is understandable. Sakura can do some interesting things. He's quite a big flyweight. He's actually moving down from bantamweight. He hits pretty hard, and he has good knees to the body, and, he could time Pantoja blitzing in. But Sakura relies a lot on the soccer kicks and the knees to downed opponents. And his grappling's it's a bit so-and-so. It's not terrible, but it's not great. And so I do see Pantoja winning this fight. Sakura, could rock Pantoja or hurt him with a body shot, but I do see Pantoja controlling the majority of the fight and just imposing his grappling, maybe getting like a 49-46 decision or a late round submission, that sort of thing. Now, the next fight on the card is Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov. I've already talked about this matchup. I do have Cyril Gane winning mainly because of his footwork and Volkov's injury. I do think that'll go to a decision. Then we have Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. I've got Evloev by decision. I've talked about that fight before. I think he's just generally a little bit better everywhere and just precise enough to maybe outstrike Aljamain and even impose some of his own grappling on him. Then we have Nick Diaz versus Vicente Luque. Now, Vicente Luque really has shown a steep decline. A really, really steep decline. But my God, Nick Diaz is not in shape, not even close. And that, of course he's not, he's 40. The thing is, though, you saw him against Robbie Lawler. Robbie could have I'm just going to say, Robbie could have finished him in the first round if he wanted to. I'm just going to say, there's a very noticeable difference in the amount of power Robbie was throwing in, like, the first exchanges of the fight to the latter exchanges, right? Nick Diaz does not take body shots well. He does not, and he cannot for the life of him take leg kicks. And Luque has, pretty good Muay Thai. And yes, Luque's chin is shot. It's 40-year-old Nick Diaz. He is not going to have power. I guarantee you, he is not going to have power. Unless he catches Luque with, like, an elbow or something, I really don't see, Nick being able to, consistently outstrike Luque, let alone hurt him or finish him. I mean, unless Luque, from what I understand, it's 3 rounds, which, it does not work in Diaz's favour. But if, Luque starts to gas out, but I really doubt that. Luque's cardio has never been, like, awful, and it's a 3-round fight. And I don't think he's going to need to do a lot to get a lot of damage on Nick Diaz. So I do have Vicente Luque. First round KO. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. Then we have Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. I'm going to go with Dominic Reyes. I think the fact that he now has confidence is going to do a lot for him. I think in terms of, like, Reyes has a very good left straight to the body. He's got a very good left kick to the body. He's got very good left inside kicks, and he's got a very good, like, just straight left hand. Athletic, fast, good left hand. Sounds like Khalil Roundtree a little bit. Obviously, much different styles, but you get what I'm saying. Anthony Smith is very much on a decline. He does not take damage well. He does not make good, decisions fight IQ-wise. I'm not too concerned about Smith taking Reyes down. Reyes' takedown defense has never been horrible. And I just really think that Anthony Smith is not all that. I do think Reyes is going to win, and I kind of want to say KO, but yeah, I'm going to go 3rd round, KO, TKO, that sort of thing. Just pivot straight left hand as Smith is, throwing a punch with no defense. Then we have Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. I'm not going to make a pick of this side. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that one be. Right? I haven't watched enough Brian Battle to really make an assessment, and it's a fight that only just got booked. Now, Carlos Pratz was originally meant to fight Randy Brown on this card. It might have been the November card, but he was originally meant to fight Randy Brown. He instead got pulled from that fight and put onto UFC Apex 100 as the main event against Neil Magny. I like that they're giving Pratz a main event. I really do think... I actually really quite like this main event. Not as Apex 100. I think they should have done something nice for Apex 100. But I like that they're giving someone with, no ranking, or, Neil Magny, someone with really low ranking, a main event spotlight, because Carlos Pratz is a big name. You're in the MMA scene. You've definitely heard about Carlos Pratz. So I like that they actually did make this matchup, and I do have Pratz by 2nd round KO. Neil Magny he doesn't take shots all that well from, like, decent punches. And Pratz has smoked all of his opponents, other than Radic, which is knee to the body, which I do think would actually be good against Magny as well. He's put them out cold and viciously, and he's long as well. It's not like Magny's going to have a height and reach advantage. Pratz is massive for welterweight, and I think that's really going to make things difficult for Magny to, he's not going to be able to impose any striking. Pratz has good leg kicks, just normal leg kicks, and even, like, stomps to the knee. He does both of them pretty well. I think the range is going to give Magny problems. I think the fact that Pratz is so experienced in Muay Thai is going to give him a lot of advantage in the clinch. He's going to be able to hang with Magny there, and I think he might even be able to land elbows off the break, similar to how Michael Morales did. I nearly called him Miles Morales. There is a chance that Magny, stalls against the fence a little bit and kind of has his way a bit. But in a 5-round fight, I just see Pratz catching with something clean and Magny not being able to take it well and crumbling. So I've got Carlos Pratz by second round KO, vicious KO in that matchup, and I'm assuming it's the favourite, which is fair. And just another bit of news. Apparently, according to Grant Dawson, he was going to call that Beneil Dariush, but apparently Dariush already has a fight booked. Who could that be? Two guesses: Paddy Pimblett or Rafael Fiziev. Both matchups would be great. I wouldn't be surprised if they're giving Pimblett that matchup. I wouldn't be surprised. It gets him in the top 10, and it probably gets him in pretty easy. But even then, if they do Fiziev versus Dariush, that's still going to be an awesome matchup. So I'm pretty excited to hear what they do with Dariush. But there's that bit of news. Now, Conor McGregor did say, I believe to MacLife or someone, that he's fighting Dan Hooker in February, on February 1st, on a Saudi Arabia card. Now, the source is Conor McGregor, so it's probably, not true. But if it is, I'm really quite interested in that matchup. I think it's a much better matchup for him than Michael Chandler. I think Dan Hooker doesn't have the speed or explosiveness to give Conor problems. I don't really see Dan Hooker chop the outside leg or like the lead leg as much as he does the rear leg. And I think that Dan Hooker, don't get me wrong, Dan Hooker's on a good streak. He's ranked number 5. He's really turned himself around. But look at the damage he took in his last fight and the fight before that. But in this fight, it was against Mateusz Gamrot. Now, Gamrot's good, but he's a wrestler. And he's he's big on volume. He's big on, volume wrestling. And he busted up Dan Hooker bad. So I think if Conor comes back in any way, decent form, I do think he's going to beat Hooker and take his number 5 ranking. Don't get me wrong, Hooker could very easily, I don't know where Conor's chin's at after the knockout from Poirier. I don't think he took shots well from Poirier in the third fight. But a lot of it does come down to how McGregor comes back from the injury and just from the Poirier knockout. So I am going to lean towards Conor, but I'm not entirely confident in that pick, not at all. But an interesting matchup nonetheless. So anyway, guys, that was just some of the recent MMA news that has happened in the world. I hope, you enjoyed, and I'm really looking forward to these matchups that are coming up. So that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Bye.